Good morning. Good morning to you and to you and also to you in the back. Even my friend the shadow. So this morning we're not going to be on here long. I know I say that every time, don't I? But I promise you, um, today I will not be on here long. I just want to give you some tidbits and then we're going to come back later with some posts for those of you that actually watch and join us. You will be able to see the posts and you'll know what those posts means, and you'll be able to go ahead and to develop more of what we're talking about this morning. I hope that you have had a blessed and wonderful night. We had an awesome time on last night. Can I tell you, the Positive Self Building students rolled up in class last night. We had a few newcomers to see, and that's amazing because we love what we do, and so we invited. We had some people that came in, new students, and I'm gonna extend it till today. Because some people asked me about that. They said, is it possible for us to join later? And I'm going to say yes. You have to the end of the week because homework assignments are due on Monday. So if you want to still take advantage of being a part of the Positive Self-Building course, you still can register. Actually, we're going to open up on Saturday class, and so if some of you cannot attend on Monday nights, the classes will be available on Saturdays if we have enough participation. So with that being said, you can reach out to me and we can get you signed up today. The quicker you sign up, the quicker you get the material at hand that's going to help you get to the next level with this. And it's very, I must say, it's a little bit intriguing to be a part of the Positive Self-Building class. I think my students can tell you the same thing, that it's nothing like walking into that classroom, even though it's virtual. It's nothing like being in a classroom with us. And so we definitely want you to be a part if you have the opportunity and you want to be a part. I'm doing this one time, and I'm going to take Leslie Ferguson's phrase, you tell people already what your schedule is, because it does take a little bit of time to do all of this, right, y'all? Y'all understand that, right? But anywho, I'm not complaining. It's really fun for me. So we want to pick up from where we talked yesterday. Okay, and we started talking about, it's time to clean up and clear out, right? And we started talking about that yesterday. To those of you that are watching behind the scenes, come on in. To those of you that will be watching later, always hit replay and give us your comments and let us know that you did participate by listening and what you got out of being a part of the video. Because it's important that we have feedback. We've got some other social media sites that we're on now. We're mainly doing some of our old stuff. But anyhow, let's talk about cleaning out. Because this is the thing. This is a season where we all begin that process, like we talked about yesterday, of developing your resolutions. You start talking about what you want to do and how you want it to be perceived, all those good things. We start talking about that. I don't know why we wait to the last minute or the last week of the year to do it, but that's what we do, okay? So let me just tell you that I believe that we don't need to wait to the last minute to start doing that. Because you're not going to know what needs to be cleaned up that easily when you're talking about inner, right? So this morning, and I apologize if I have to stop and take a drink, but today is a little rough. But when you start talking about that very thing, cleaning up, what do you want to talk about? Well, first of all, you have to identify what needs to be cleaned up. That is the first step. You're talking about change. You're talking about you want things to be improved. You want relationships to be better, and all of these kinds of things. But what do you have to do to figure that out? You have to evaluate what it is that you need to clean up, and that's what we want to talk about today. What do you determine that? Okay, so one of the things I want you to think about is this right here. And it's a phrase that I use, and I think it can be definitely something that we can tap into right here. And that is, if it's not helping you grow, then it's time to let it go. Let me repeat that. If it's not helping you grow, then it's time to let it go. That's one way that you know. You know, we talk about this all the time because it's important that people understand the things that you're dealing with in your life. Me and you and everybody else have to come to the realization that if it's not helping you, then you have to let it go. And sometimes the letting go process is the hardest part. Can I get an amen in the church? That part right there, that part where you realize that something is not benefiting you, it's not helping you grow, it's not giving you that good sparkly feeling that you need in the morning, it's not causing you to feel energized, it's not building your confidence. You know, that's the class that we're talking about right now. It's not building your confidence, it's not allowing you to feel strong, right? And so if it's not helping you grow, then it's time to let it go. Why would you keep a dead flower around? Ooh. I just had to put a moment there. Why would you keep a dead flower around? And if it's not doing anything, if it no longer has a smell, it no longer shows beauty, it no longer can brighten up a room, why would you keep it? You will let it go. Can I tell you, if something is not empowering you, then it's time to move on. A lot of times, one of the reasons why we stay in relationships is because it feels comfortable, right? Comfortability is not a reason to hold on to something. So as you're walking into 22 and you're making plans of change, sometimes you have to let the people, places, and things around you that's not building you up and not helping you grow. And I don't mean giving you handouts. I don't mean those types of things. I mean really being able to stand behind you from a distance and push you. I have several best friends, and I know that sounds kind of crazy to some people, but I have several best friends. One best friend I barely talk to in a month. Why? Because her schedule is busy and she's in another state. And it's just different reasons. But when I talk to this one best friend, it doesn't matter if I talk to her today or 90 days from today. The conversation is always powerful. It's very empowering. It's very full of energy. It's full of hope. It's full of those times that we as best friends need them. Because sometimes you don't always have to have your best friend in your face every day of the second or every second of the day. But what happens in that 1 second of a conversation or a text message is empowering, it's intriguing, it's strength rising. So if it's not helping you grow, if you're not feeling that, then it's time to let it go. If the phone calls have stopped, okay, I'm going to go on that side of it. Because sometimes we hold on to relationships that are not even responsive. And I want to say that in a nice way. Another way that you know there's time to clean something out or get rid of it is if it's not responding. If it's not responding, that's number 2. Number 1 was if it's not helping you grow. Number 2, if there's no response, right? If it's not responding to you, if it's not picking up the phone like it used to, you know, and I'm using it as a analogy, I guess. If it's not picking up the phone and speaking life into you, you need to clean it out. You need to clear it. You need to clear it out. Do I mean that you no longer want to be around that person or the situation? You have to evaluate how you handle it, right? So when you're cleaning it out, if it's not responding to you, like if you're giving it more energy than you're receiving, it's a good indication that you need to clean it out. It's a good indication that you might have to clear it out. When I say cleaning, sometimes you need to refresh the tool. We'll talk more about that, the difference in cleaning and clearing. But sometimes if it's not even showing life at all, then that's a probably indication that you need to clean it it'll clear it out. Because if it's not responding to you, then it's not hearing you for what you are. When I teach the class self-worth, I teach my students that one thing is important, that you have to build what's on the inside for you. And sometimes we get sidetracked. We start looking at the other end of it, or the other aspects of it, and we start worrying about those things that we really have no control over. When I tell you that if it's not responding to you, then it may be time for you to move on. Let me give you a good example. Let me use that phrase. You're in a meeting, if you will, and you are talking or you are presenting and nobody responds. Okay, one thing you got to do is check your equipment. Because as we was in class last night and I was talking, I wasn't getting responses, and I was like, what's going on? And everybody said, well, you're frozen. Let me tell you something. If what you are dealing with has gone to a frozen stage, then it's time to clean it up. What did we do last night when we found out that we were frozen? We started removing some things. We started taking some things down. We started reevaluating what was making the camera frozen, or the atmosphere frozen, right? When you see that there's a frozen stage in your journey that is not going anywhere, is very cold. You know, people tell you, oh, you're cold. Well, when you understand what that really gets to, is that you have not any movement at all. I'm throwing in nuggets. You got to catch them. If it's frozen in a time, in a state, if you're always living in 1962, that's the year I was born. If you're still living in 1962 and you haven't come to the realization that it's 21, it may be time for you to clean it out. I love old music. I love all of that. But what I don't do is live in that era, right? You have to learn to move on. Sometimes it's a process of you going to your next level and saying to the atmosphere, saying to the world, look, you know what? I've been here. It was enjoyable while I was here, but now it's frozen. If you are frozen in a state of mind that you have no idea of how to move on, then it could be a time that could be an indication that it's time for you to do what? To clean it out, to move on. See, if you are trying your best, if you keep giving all that you have to something and nothing ever changes with it, nothing ever seems to benefit, or nothing ever comes to you, then it's time for you to clean it out and clear it out. Clean it up, clear it out. Because if it's going to hold you back, good morning to those of you that are watching from behind the scenes. If it's holding you that tight, then I can tell you that it's time to go on without it, because it's not going to help you move any further. You are wasting energy if you are not cleaning out the past. If you are holding on to what's in your mind and you're thinking that this is how it's going to be. If you don't have any energy to push, then I'm telling you, it's time to clean it up. You want to walk into 22 with a new attitude, then you have to remove those things that's not helping you grow. You have to remove those things that's not positioning you for greater. You have to remove those people, places, and things that's holding your heart hostage. You have to remove that. You have to, because if it's holding you hostage and you cannot breathe, it's time to let it go. It's time to clean it out. You have to evaluate how intense that this whole aspect of what you're dealing with is controlling you. If you are constantly reaching, and there's nothing that's pulling you, because when you're reaching up, something has to pull you. The rope is there. You know, do you remember when we were in school and the gym teacher used to tell you had to climb the rope? And you started climbing that rope, but you started sliding back down. Maybe the rope wasn't cleaned so that you could hold grips to it. I don't care if nobody catches that but me. Sometimes holding on to something that is slippery doesn't mean that it's time for you. It's time. What it means is that it's time for you to let it go. You're holding on to something so tight that you think you cannot live without it. Then it's time to let it go. Stop wasting energy and your time with things that need to be cleaned up. And sometimes you just need to give it to a resting place. If it's not helping you grow, it's time to let it go. If it's not responding to you, then it's time to clean it up or let it go. If it's frozen in time, it's time to clean it up or let it go. You cannot push any further on things that is not building the inner you. Your inner man is screaming for better. The inner man is saying, I need you to get with me. Your inner man is saying, I need help. And what are you giving the inner man? You're giving the inner no peace. See, this is the thing. I have a good friend who's, who talks about peace as a part of her program. And one of the things that she and I were laughing about is that sometimes you don't even identify what your peace is until it's being interrupted. I say this all the time now because I'm at a certain age in my life. I'm 59. I'm at a certain age in my life where certain things doesn't faze me anymore. Right? I don't look at people with the materialistic things that they can offer. I want people that can give me value. If you're not getting value for something, if it's not costing, if it's not building the worth in you, it's time to clean it out. I have over 20, and I can't really show it, but over in 20 and 21, I collected books from people that I was either interviewing or were a part of my an event, and I was getting all these books. And then one day, excuse me, when I first started getting back on my feet, started getting out of the bed, I should say, one of the things that I noticed that I had all of these books around me, and some of them were not for me to read at that time. And I remember, going over to my desk and moving some things on my desk because I was looking for something. Anyway, I was looking for something, and I picked up and I saw this book, and I said, I don't even remember when I got this book. I don't remember. And what hit me was, it wasn't a part of my growth process. That's another sign for you to clean out too. When it's not, I just told you, if it's not helping you grow, then it's time to let it go. So this morning, when can you identify that it's time to clean it out? If it's not helping you grow, it's time to let it go. If it's not responding, it's time to clean it out. And if it's in a frozen stage, then it's time to let it go. Change needs to happen. Change has to happen in order for you to get to your next. I promise you, there is something about knowing how to identify what needs to be changed. All right, we'll continue this conversation on tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll start talking about what you do and how the tools in your toolkit will help you get to your next. If you have not been to our website, please go out there to Victoria Elevates and check out what's happening on the website, because we're starting to do some things out there that we're not going to be doing on Facebook. And we're starting to do some other things, other places. You just got to know where to find me. But until then, my friends, I want you to always remain elevated and not tolerated. We'll see you real soon. Take care.